The October 1989 edition of Championship Wrestling hits like a jolt of pure late 80s adrenaline with a cover that could stop you in your tracks at the newsstand. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat is plastered across the front with the promise regains WWF crown, while Ric Flair's smug confidence beams beside takes NWA gold. Larry Zbyszko stands defiant under the headline fulfills his destiny, a smirk that says he knows something the rest of the wrestling world doesn't. Subplots abound in the corner teasers. Jason the Terrible's reign of masked menace, the Southern Rockers' internal war for Pacific Northwest dominance, Sergeant Slaughter's battle with Colonel. De Beers framed as a war zone of destruction, and a headline guaranteed to sell copies, Nature Boy slays the dragon. The sidebar serves as a menu of visual spectacle. Full-color pinups of Chris Adams, Cactus Jack Manson, the Great Muta with Sting, Eric Embry, the Samoan SWAT team, and ravishing Rick Rudo. Inside, the table of contents lays out a buffet of feature stories and regular columns. There's Road Warriors or Varsity Club, questioning tag team supremacy. Bruno Sammartino, the living legend, chronicling a return to his old stomping grounds. Larry Zbyszko fulfills his destiny, recounting his climb to the AWA World Heavyweight Championship. Jason the Terrible's feature, a photo essay on the road with the world class, a WrestleMania press recap, profiles on the Great Muta and Ricky Steamboat, a wild slice of Flamingo madness from Florida, Sergeant Slaughter's war with Colonel De Beers, Beetlejuice's rise alongside Roddy Piper, and the Southern Rockers' friends or foes drama. Even the masthead is a time capsule. Modern-day periodicals in full production mode with Frank Amato editing, Norman McLean as executive editor, and Stanley R. Harris as publisher. The As We Go to Press section wastes no time delivering breaking news. Fallout from NWA's War Games '89 in Nashville. 5 title matches stacked the card, headlined by Ric Flair's last shot at Ricky Steamboat's world title, with Lou Thez, Pat O'Connor, and Terry Funk scoring at ringside. The first 2 rounds of judging went Steamboat's way, until Flair, at 32 minutes in, cradled Steamboat for the 3 count to capture his 6th world championship. The post-match turned violent when Terry Funk attacked Flair, pile-driving him through a table and branding himself a dangerous wild card. Other key outcomes saw Michael Hayes, thanks to Terry Gordy's interference, and take the U.S. title from Lex Luger, the Road Warriors DQ win over Williams and Rotunda, leading to a vacated NWA tag title, Sting's successful TV title defense against the Iron Sheik, and undercard victories for Dick Murdoch, the Great Muta, the Dynamic Dudes, and Eddie Gilbert and Rick Steiner. The Championship Wrestling rating section is a feast for stat junkies. It charts managers, Bobby Heenan, Skandor Akbar, Paulie Dangerously at the top. Singles wrestlers, Ricky Steamboat, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Randy Savage, Jerry Lawler. Tag teams, Road Warriors, Demolition, Olympians, and separates most popular from most unpopular, with Savage, Flair, and Zbyszko, proudly wearing their heel heat as badges of honor. Regional rankings from AWA, WCCW, CWA, CWF, and Pacific Northwest Wrestling show a fractured but thriving wrestling map, with familiar names holding belts in one territory while chasing gold in another. The first major feature, Which Tag Team Will Reign Supreme, by Eric Torres, examines the NWA's hot feud between the Road Warriors and the Varsity Club's Mike Rotunda and Steve Williams. Paul Ellering and Kevin Sullivan trade venomous quotes. Hawk calls out Teddy Long for robbing them at Clash of the Champions 4. And Sullivan promises domination of every belt in the NWA. Photos show brawls with chairs, slams, and mid-air collisions, encapsulating the physicality of the feud. The next shift is to nostalgia with the living legend visits an old neighborhood. Frank Diaz's photo-heavy piece on Bruno Sammartino's return to where Sunnyside Gardens once stood. Bruno signs autographs, recalls wars with Buddy Rogers, and reflects on the bond with her fans. The mood is warm, a reminder that wrestling's legacy isn't just in the ring, but in the memories carried by its supporters. Larry Zbyszko's profile follows, equal parts self-congratulation and score settling. Declaring himself the living legend after taking the AWA World Heavyweight Championship from Sergeant Slaughter, Zbyszko talks about his 14-year climb, mocks his detractors, and positions himself as the smartest man in the business. The piece is punctuated by action shots of Zbyszko hammering Slaughter, locking in holds, and basking in his win. Jason the Terrible's segment is an exercise in menace, painting him as an unstoppable force under the mask, his brutality unsoftened by rules or morality. The photos are stark, the tone leaning into horror. The world-class photo essay drops readers into arenas and locker rooms, a candid look at the Von Erichs, Eric Embry, and the atmosphere of Texas wrestling. The Great Muta feature dives into his blend of athleticism and mystique, explaining why he's skyrocketing in the NWA. Steamboat's profile, the Dragon Roars, charts his career path, recent highs, and the resilience that keeps him in main event conversations. Flamingo Madness from Florida adds a dose of regional flavor with a spotlight on a flamboyant, unpredictable character. Sergeant Slaughter versus Column de Beers is framed in militaristic terms, a war of ideologies as much as ring tactics, with neither man willing to concede ground. The Betelgeuse piece, featuring Roddy Piper's mentorship, paints him as eccentric but dangerous. The Southern Rockers close the feature slate with a classic wrestling question. Can two friends survive the pressures of tag team glory, or will ego tear them apart? Sprinkled throughout are the colorful ads, fan club invites, and mail-order offers that defined the era. Glossy photos of stars for sale, T-shirts with bold block lettering, and VHS tapes promising to bring the action home. The back pages hold Body Slam by Arnie Gross, a blunt behind-the-scenes commentary column, and Phantomania, a swap meet in print for buying, selling, and trading wrestling memorabilia. From front cover to final ad, this issue is a time capsule of 1989 wrestling, a fractured but electric landscape where regional flavor and national spectacle coexist, where personalities are as important as the belts they carry, and where the pages themselves feel like part of the show.